So it's a late September day here in 2020 in the Ozarks, and it's quite foggy this morning. There's no view this morning down into the bottoms. So let's work on some trapping things today. I'm going to try to get a few things buttoned up today for the upcoming trapping season. We're literally 6 weeks away basically. So let's go see what we've got done so far and where we need to go. So one of the things that I've been working on over the last, maybe 2 weeks or so is getting all of my dirt together. This is a bin right here of peat moss. And what I've done is I went ahead and I've sifted my peat moss in this bin. This is one bag of peat moss that's been sifted. And then I let it dry. And as you can see, it's pretty good right now. Nice and dry and it's all sifted. The reason I do that is really, hang on Athena, I'm trying to make a little video. Athena's a little excited. This is the dog I caught last year in a coyote trap who's now my dog, one of my dogs. The reason I do this is there's all kinds of little sticks and things. It's inside those bags with the peat moss. They're small generally, but I've had actually one of them get stuck in my jaws one time and had a coyote get away, pull out because of that. So I learned, that was a super valuable lesson learned. Now I do, I come in and I sift all my peat moss, get it all sifted up, get rid of all the gunk that's in there. Plus, sometimes some of the peat moss is still a little bit damp. So when you sift it, you put it in a bin or whatever, you let it sit outside in the nice warm sun, it dries it out. You turn it over a little bit, it gets all nice and powdery and nice and dry. So as you can see, I've got one more bag over there that I need to do that I'm going to get to today, and I'm going to sift that all up, and that'll give me 2 bags of peat moss. Over here, these are all buckets with my wax dirt that I put together. It's only 20 gallons. That's about what I usually try to use because I don't use wax dirt all the time. In every set early in the season I don't use it, and I'm kind of sparingly about using it when I know the weather's going to be horrible, when I know it's going to be cold, when I know that I'm really going to need it. Other times, it's just not that cold here in the Ozarks that I have to use it all the time. I can get by with just sifting dirt, using peat moss, and using antifreeze if I need to and other things. But we do have it. I do like to use it at some point. You know, you pretty much would need like a dump truck load if I was going to use it like all winter, and that's not even practical. Expense-wise and work-wise. So I have about 20 gallons. I'll go with that. And then I've also been working on getting my dirt together. So let's go out and check out the dirt. So I've been gathering up my dry dirt and storing it in these barrels. As you can see, this one's about half full. I need to go ahead and finish it. It's pretty good. It's all sifted. It's pretty dry. See, it's pretty dusty actually, which is perfectly fine. We'll fill this barrel up, and I like to have at least 2 of these trash barrels full of dirt, and I only store them over here by the chicken coop just because I have other barrels over here and it's easy for me to store them out of the way, and they stay pretty dry over here, and so it's the best place for me to store them, I have found. So I'm going to go ahead and sift and try to fill up the rest of this trash can today, and that'll give me 2 of these full of dry dirt, plus my peat moss, plus my wax dirt, plus the dirt that I'm just going to use in the field, and together all that should give me pretty much what I need. So now it's time to move on and get some traps ready, and we got to dye and wax some traps. So here's my 6 new MB550s, and I've got them sitting in my pot, bringing the water to a boil so I can boil all the grease and everything off of them, get them good and boiled up. And then when I'm done with this, I will dump this water out, put a new 5 gallons of water in this, and then I'll start throwing all my traps in there, all 50 some of them, and start basically dyeing them all up. They're all clean from last year. I've already power washed them before I put them up at the end of the last season, so they're all clean. They just need a good dyeing now, So I'll put them all in through this, dye them really good, and then after they're all nice and dry, then I'll move to waxing them. So that's kind of what I'm doing today. And while I'm sitting here doing this, I'm gonna go do some other chores. I got the fire kind of going up underneath here, so it should be a little bit. Let these boil up. And I know before you start putting comments out here, I know that I could probably hook up a fish cooker and boil this a lot quicker and everything, but I kind of just like doing it old school. And I kind of like, you know, getting a fire going, sitting out here in the fire pit, doing other chores while I'm doing this. And now the fog is blown out and it's just going to be a beautiful day here in the Ozarks. The trees are just barely starting to turn, and I mean, what a better old school trapping experience than this as far as I'm concerned. Okay everybody, I'm dyeing the traps now. I went ahead and boiled that first 6 new traps that I had, boiled the grease off of them, changed the water, and then I brought that water to a boil, threw my package of logwood dye in there, and let's see, I'm through, I don't know, 18, maybe 20 traps over there I've got dyed, and now I've got about another 10 in the pot going right now. Just threw some more wood up underneath there, just enjoying the sunny day. It's really pretty nice out. There's a nice breeze, and I've been tinkering around doing some other projects while this is going, and then just, you know, checking on this every now and then, taking a little break. And so it's looking pretty good. Probably have this done in another hour and a half maybe. Have all the traps dyed, and then I'll throw the wax pot on here and start waxing these babies up. So we've got our traps all dyed now, and they're all looking pretty good. There's a pile of traps over there. And I've now thrown my second pot on here. This is the pot that's got all my wax in it. I've got a little bit of wax that was left over from last year that's still in pretty good shape, and I've got a couple extra pounds that I bought this year to add to it if I need to. But right now all we're going to do is keep the fire kind of low and let that wax kind of slowly melt in our pot and get it heated up. And then once we do that, we'll start waxing these traps, sticking them in there little by little until we get them all covered up in wax. How I like to do that is usually just stick 1 or 2 at a time in there. I stick them in there, and they'll kind of have this like little, almost like a little gurgling sound from the trap being, the metal of the trap being colder than the wax. And once that quits, then you'll know that the metal of the trap is about the same temperature as the wax. Doesn't take very long, 15 seconds, 20 seconds maybe. And then you pull them out, and then you just get that really fine little bit of wax on your traps. Otherwise it can get really thick because the wax isn't warm enough, and then if you don't let the metal on the trap warm up to the same as the wax, you'll end up with all this thick wax on there, which is not what you want to have happen. So that's my little method. Always works pretty well for me. It was just kind of a trial and error for me to learn that over the years. So we'll now let's get to waxing some traps. So now we're just in the cleaning up stage. The fire's going out, and I've got a little bit of wax left over, so I'll just put the lid back on this and save it for next year. And there's all the traps that are drying out. I'm going to box them back up into the bins, and they'll go into the shop for another 6 weeks until it's time to come out and catch some coyotes. I think we did 56 traps today, so didn't take us all that long actually to I had to boil those first 6, get the oil all boiled off of them, and then we started all over, and then we just dyed everything, and then we waxed everything. So 56 traps probably took, I don't know, 3 hours, 3.5 hours, something like that, maybe 4 hours. But honestly, I was tinkering with other projects and just kind of coming back and forth, so it was no big rush, no big hurry. And And the clouds are starting to develop off in the distance, and geez, I hope it rains. But it's a beautiful day, so it's a great time to do some trap prep and do some trapping prep for the season, which is just around the corner. So talk to you guys soon. Hope everybody else is getting the fever and getting their trap work and be ready to go in a few weeks.